Hi, I'm Marsha Judd. I'm from All the Arts for All the Kids, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about another type of clay. You remember our clay that we made in our kitchen the other day, and we're going to be using Play-Doh. So some of you have this laying around the house, and some of you can find it at some of the different stores at a very inexpensive price. We're going to be working today with a coil. A coil is nothing more than a snake of clay. Remember that most of us have played with Play-Doh before, and we've probably made snakes. But did you know that ancient man, that was the second type of pottery that they learned how to build? And with making a coil, or putting one on top of the other, they were able to actually build larger vessels, because I'm sure you noticed our pinch pots are very small. And we're going to be rolling it up to make our friend the snail. Now, you could use toothpicks, pipe cleaners, or it doesn't have to have any antennas at all. But you can see that by rolling it up, much like ancient man, we're able to actually create a structure that is stronger. Our little sculptures will emulate some of the sculptures that were made as early as 32,000 BC. Okay, to make a coil, what you do is, remember our alligator fingers? Same thing. We keep our fingers together and we go ahead and we actually press into the center. If it starts to buckle, back your fingers off and put them together in the middle or where the buckle is and roll it out. Now you might find that this clay dries out quickly, and that's the nature of clay. Clay, by its very makeup, does dry in the air. Remember that if we want it to become hard, we have to fire it. So we're going to roll our fingers down. You can see that I start with my fingers together, and as my snake gets larger, I spread my fingers out. We're going to be texturing this for our snail sculptures, and so don't worry too much if it cracks. If it does, remember our little touch of water trick, just a little bit, because this clay actually has a polymer in it. It doesn't always like that much water. Okay, so remember that we can't make this too long. The reason being is that the clay is only so strong. Now we're going to make one end a little bit thinner than the other. That will be the tail, or also known as the foot of our snail. And we will be taking a piece and actually breaking it off to make the head. If anything cracks, please pinch it off and pinch it into kind of a point shape. Reason being is, have you ever observed a snail? You can see that the foot tapers into a point. Other little piece, and I've added a little bit of water, and I'm again wedging or kneading that together to make that consistent, and we'll be making the head out of this. And again, to make a ball, just roll the clay between your hands. If you press in, remember it'll get flat, so we want it to be more like a ball shape. And again, if we add any water, we just touch just a tiny bit of water on there. All right, so now we're going to be making our coil into our snail shape. We'll add a little bit of water so that it will stick together. And remember, all we do is touch the water. We don't dip our hands in, and brush it over the surface, rolling it on the table. Start to roll your snail up. And remember that we will be texturing this, so if it cracks, that's okay. Add a little bit more water. And you can see that we're starting to get the snail shell. Any big cracks, again, don't worry about it. So you can see the difference in between the clay you made and the clay that you bought at the store. Which one do you like better? I know which one I like better. Squeeze that together. And this will be where we dip in the water and we add our head. Now you may have to press this down with a tool. Now your snail could be shy. Your snail could have a long stretched out neck like it's very curious. Your snail could be looking to the side like it's getting directions. There is no right or wrong. Remember that we will be adding a pattern and texture on this in just a minute. If you think that you want to add an antenna afterwards, you can go ahead and poke holes in that. You can also actually add other colors of clay for other features. Start to pinch that out. I think I'll make my snail a little bit curious, looking to the side, pinching out the head so that we can see the features. There we go. Reshape anything. But you can see how we got that to coil up. Now for our decoration, we're going to want to use a contrasting color. Contrasting color is a color that when placed next to another color stands out. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the little balls of clay to give my snail an interesting pattern. And you'll notice that I'm using my pencil to actually poke that onto the surface. It is difficult to make this kind of clay stick together. So this would be an area where we can use a little bit of that water, just a touch, and we can decorate with the patterns and the texture. You'll also notice, so I would go ahead and put that all over the surface like you see in this one. But to also create the texture, you can use your pencil, the tip of it, to give it that kind of rough texture that you see on snails. But in real life, if you've ever touched one, was it rough or was it slimy? I know. That's amazing. And that gives it, that film is what allows our snail to have locomotion, since it does not have feet or legs like we do. But this anatomy part is called the foot. Make sure that you give it that texture so that it looks more like your snail. I'm Marsha Judd. Okay, you can see that I'm going to create a beautiful pattern on my snail to make it look very playful and happy. I've also added texture to the foot. I'll continue that on the entire project. Make sure that you give it eyes, maybe a smile. So I'm Marsha Judd. Thank you so much. I hope that you've enjoyed making your coil snail today. Bye-bye.